So this is a pretty serious level video, ladies and gentlemen. I got some Deus Ex on the streams over here, the video feed coming right at you, and I picked this game for a very, very important reason, because its themes and concepts and story really have a lot to share with what we're about to talk about. Now, for me, I run a gaming channel over here. I talk about video games, browse the dark webs, all that kind of stuff. And I have a generally fun time doing it. And over the years, I've experienced many points where, government regulations and government bodies and people who just don't understand the internet try to police and regulate the internet. Now, I made a video about this kind of stuff a long time ago, talking about Article 13, or a lot of people said it was the meme ban jokingly at the time. And the meme ban is a real thing. This kind of stuff isn't new. It's been happening all over in multiple nations. If you look back in the days of, SOPA, PIPA, all that kind of stuff, it was the US's, and we're talking the United States over here, their at least attempt to somewhat start to look at the internet, deal with copyright infringements on the internet in a more serious manner. And there were multiple efforts, at least you could say, in the years before this one, that most countries got together and tried to figure out what they could do about copyright violations. Now, the reality of it is, guys, copyright violations are a big deal. And when you're working in media, and this is just from my take, working a job in, media as a, editor, the biggest problem with this is that when you have to deal with copyrighted images, music, audio, video, whatever kind of copyrighted elements, the problem that comes down here is that the idea of delivering proper rights and royalties to those who deserve it. It is a terribly difficult thing at times. You can't. It's not exactly inherently negative or positive. This thing is a very complex issue. But the biggest problem with what's going on right now is that this issue isn't handled with the care that it desires because of the complexity of the issue. Now, Article 13, the actual meme ban that people like to call it, is one that's relegated just to the European Union at the moment. Now, the EU is one of the biggest countries right now, and they've been very stringent on making sure that tech companies have some proper oversight, which I definitely agree with. They are definitely in rights of the consumers. But there is elements where this kind of stuff can threaten to, in fact, blow up the internet. And I'm not saying that as some hyperbolic phrase at this point. So let me put this into more contextual terms for us over here. We on YouTube and Twitch and multiple other platforms, as gamers and all that kind of stuff, rely on user-generated content, for instance, right? The gameplay that you're watching right now belongs to Square Enix. This is a Square Enix game. They have made this game with a lot of love and passion, and ultimately this is their title. The only reason I am allowed to post this gameplay is because of a relationship to Square, because I'm using it as a way to just have a good background video for explaining a thematic purpose that this game ultimately shares. This game is allowed, off the record by Square and many other game publishers. We have this weird relationship. But the thing with this situation is that this is almost like a content ID situation where it's going to cause a lot of harm when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because game publishers are certainly going to get some harm. Let's just put this in for instance, right? Let's assume that I had Grand Theft Auto 5 gameplay footage up here, right? Rockstar Games would have been okay with me showing Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, they've been okay with it up until this point. But let's assume that, I don't know, some 3-second audio clip of somebody's music played in the in-game radio. Well, the system over here is designed to immediately find that, take it down, and do whatever they can. Now, the more and more this system extends, the more and more it looks into almost every bit of user-generated content and prevents it from ever touching European network space or being allowed into EUnet. Now, there are going to be content creators that will absolutely be fucking ass-blasted by this shit. Ranton, for instance, runs a game review channel. He is in Germany, I believe, which is a member of the EU. He will definitely be affected by this Article 13 issue, especially in his rise to get somewhere in this industry. It's not going to be pretty. So people will be affected, and tech companies will be affected too. Twitch and YouTube both will definitely stop their services touching the European Union. They're not going to completely kill off their service, for sure. I mean, everybody outside the EU will get to experience YouTube as it is, but, our EU content creators and content consumers are most certainly going to be affected, at least on these two platforms. People on Facebook, people on, Twitter, people on most social media network sites like Reddit. In fact, anywhere, even in the news category, all over the internet, this system is going to be enacted, and it will not be pretty. Now, despite talking about the negatives so much at this point, I do understand why this is going to be enabled. In this era, there are a lot of people out there that put their all into online entertainment, all into entertainment in any way, shape, or form, or into the internet, starting up internet.com businesses. The issue is that there are a select few group of people that have gone out of their way to obviously break copyright laws. And when something is broken to the point so inherently, I mean, we've seen it all over Facebook, right? People stealing memes, people inputting memes with movie clips just for the sake of doing it, and, putting a little fucking tag on it and all that kind of stuff. We've all seen stuff being blatantly stolen and posted on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere. And the thing is that these sites have done very little to enforce it the way that they should have. So for this law to be enacted, for these systems to be placed, there was definitely a catalyst that was in place for this to happen. And had a lot of these tech companies focused on making sure the user-generated content issue wasn't this big of a problem, then this may not have been happening. But this isn't the answer to go chase it out, Europe. This is going to harm not just content consumers, but the people that create the content anyways. The entire Content ID, when you look at it from perspective, is a smaller scale version of this, far smaller scale. And even in just the gaming sphere, it caused headaches for a lot of game publishers, a lot of game public, PR companies that were responsible of delivering and sending games off and worrying about whitelist. Game companies themselves got fucking blacklisted and attacked through an automated system. What do you think an EU system that blanket covers this is going to do to not just the games industry, but almost any other industry that relies on the internet? How do we ensure a system like this or any practice like this is going to go completely well or completely regulated? This is a system that has been designed in a very simplistic manner for a very complicated issue. Now, I'm not for or against Article 13. I understand that there are two sides to a situation and that at the end of the day, for something to work and something to be healthy, there needs to be an equilibrium. And until we meet that equilibrium, this shit is not the way that you fucking handle it. So I just want to hear from you guys. What do you think about it? I know it's a little bit of a serious video, but tomorrow we have a really fucking cringy video about my childhood. And Saturday, we're playing... Well, we played a game, but I'll tell you more about that when we get to it. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe, just like if you dislike it. I am out.